You said it. Everybody had their coffee and they're ready to go.
Oh, they did. So let's go to the ABCs of title commitments. So Schedule A is what we call the actual facts. Schedule B1 is the clear to close, or the requirements that we're going to satisfy. And Schedule B2 is the buyer notifications, or the exceptions that will remain with the property. So let's go to the next slide and talk about Schedule A, the actual facts. So the effective date of the commitment is the date that the county has last posted recorded documents for any property located within a particular county. Now, prior to closing, the title agent will request that the underwriter update the commitment, because we're looking for a later date. We call that a gap. So the effective date, just so you know, is the date that the county has the last posted recorded documents. It isn't the date you asked for it. It isn't the date we did it. It doesn't have anything to do with your contract. It is the date that the county has any documents posted of record. So then someone within FAN is going to be doing an update, and that's going to say what happened between the original effective date and just before closing. So sometimes we'll find things, and we'll call you and we'll say, oh, guess what? There's a judgment, or there's a lien. And the first thing you'll say is, well, why didn't you tell us before? And the answer is because it fell in the gap. It fell between the period that we first did it and just before closing. And then there's another gap, because we insure from then the day of closing to the recordation of documents. So we're covering a pretty broad spectrum of time there, from the very beginning, when the county had documents of record, all the way to when somebody at FAN records the documents. We have the name of the buyer as it appeared on the contract, as well as the sales price as it appeared on the contract. We have the name of the lender, generally received when the lender sends their title request, as well as the amount that the lender is looking for. Type of interest in the property, okay? So most of our properties will show as fee simple interest. If you own your property as fee simple interest, you own the land, what's on the land, a proportionate share of the core of the earth, and a proportionate share of the airspace above. Now, you can also hold property through a leasehold, which means you have the right to use the land, but you don't own the land. And we do have parts of Florida where that is true. They don't own the actual land, just the right to use the land. So most of yours, because they're going to be subdivisions, condominiums, townhomes, they're going to own their property fee simple. Now it's going to show you who the current owner of the property is pursuant to the last deed of record. And that seller should be the same seller as disclosed on your contract. If not, you're going to want to know why not. And we will be checking with everyone as the settlement agent, but think about it. The contract says Sam Seller signed. And when we get the commitment, it says Sam and Susan Seller own the property. Well, now we have to find out what happened to Susan. Did they get divorced? Did Susan pass away? Did Susan just not sign it because she wasn't there that day? Are they separated and Susan doesn't know that Sam's trying to sell the property without her? And the last thing that we look at is the legal description. Now, the legal description may show on Schedule A, or it may appear as a separate page as an Exhibit A. So we're going to check and make sure all of the actual facts that we show on our commitment match all the actual facts that we've been given through the contract and the lender's request. So, Chris, we're going to ask another poll question because I like to keep our people engaged. So the next poll question says, in Schedule B1, a typical document that is required to be properly executed and delivered and recorded is what? Is it a deed, is it a restriction, or is it a judgment?
All right. Well, it looks like we have A, which is deed, is the answer everybody has gone with.
Wonderful. Okay, well, they are too good today.